Hi, welcome back to my garden. I've been asked several questions about what the best kind of mulch is. And now that we're expanding the garden, it's a good time to talk about it. Now I'm sitting on the original burn rings that we had. We had it piled up, and I didn't know whether or not we were going to try to make a hugelkultur or just move this. Yesterday, weather was beautiful. Well, for burning. It was kind of drizzly and rainy all day long. I got a little wet, then went ahead and burned this off. And we created some really nice biochar. Now I'm going to mix that in with our mulch. And we'll talk about the different materials we use for mulch and what might be best for you. So come on, let's mulch. When you're looking at what kind of material you want to use for your mulch, your hay, your lawn clippings, they all break down very fast and they're considered green in the compost. Now of course your wood chips, they're considered a brown, but the woody material, the browns, they break down a lot slower. Now your leaves, they're a brown and they break down pretty quickly, but not like your greens. Sawdust comes off of commercial lumber that has been dried, and it takes a lot longer to break down. What is the best material to use as a mulch? Is it all hay? Is it all grass? Is it all leaves? Is it all wood chips? Well, it kind of depends on what you want to grow and what you have available to you. Now, the more alkaline, which is at the very beginning of what we would call dirt turning into soil. What is dirt? So I looked up another definition of dirt. Dirt is earth or soil. Wait a second. You know the dry substance that makes up the surface of the earth? That is dirt, or soil, or earth. So where does it come from? Over hundreds of years, rocks break down into tinier and tinier pieces, and they mix with plant and animal material, decaying roots, rotting leaves, dead bugs, dead worms, and other organic material. Along with water and air, that's what we call dirt, or soil. Hold on, just a second. Wait, now I'm confused. So soil is a mixture of clay, silt, and sand. I thought that was dirt. Wait, that's earth. So what is loam? Loam is soil that's composed mostly of sand, silt, and clay, an organic material. Wait, I'm getting confused. Soil is actually the minerals that are made up of sand, silt, and clay, which are different sized particles of rocks that have broken down over years. Once we start adding organic material, then before the new science of the early 80s, that was just fertile soil, something you wanted to grow in. So what is topsoil? Topsoil is a variation of loam, which is a variation of soil, which is a variation of dirt, which is all made up of sand, silt, and clay. I hope you're as confused as I am. Well, this really isn't about dirt or soil. It's about living soil. In the 80s, they started looking at the actual life in the soil. And that's what actually makes the substance that your plants grow in. That's what actually makes the nutrients available. I would say dirt or soil or loam or topsoil again, but it won't make any difference. As long as you have sand or silt or clay or a combination of both, even with the organic matter, you still have to have life to break it all down. Now I'm just having fun with dirt and soil and loam and topsoil because it covers the entire surface of the earth and it has enough nutrients to grow all the plants we ever want to grow. Thing is, we have to take care of the life in that soil. The only way to do that is to let that web build up. When you feed that web, you're going to be successful. The ground does not want to be left bare. So right now, we're covering it in organic matter. Even right here in the sweet potato patch, this was a foot thick a year ago. Now we're down to almost nothing and a lot of bare soil. And as the leaves come down, we're going to come back and remulch this, and we're going to remulch it pretty heavy. But you have to. The life in the soil uses that mulch very quickly. Now the more alkaline, which is at the very beginning of what we would call dirt turning into soil, has some bacteria in it, and basic weeds grow really well in that. If you want to grow strawberries or blueberries, which originated in the old growth forests, you're going to want more acidity in your soil, which means you want more fungus in your soil. In the garden, when we think of succession, usually it's planting one type of plant after another in the same spot. And that's the old way of thinking. you know, to keep the fertility or whatnot in your soil. That's not how it works. Now, if you want to make a small change, change the way you do things. If you want to make a big change, change the way you see things. Over the last couple of years, I've really changed the way I see things. You know, I'm like most farmers. I started doing this in the late 60s. We tilled everything, and we hoed weeds, and we added nitrate fertilizer, and we did it all wrong. Looking at it as terms of the garden, in the beginning there was no life, it was just rock. And we've talked about what dirt is: sand, silt, soil, clay, just different sizes of rocks. And then what soil is the bacteria gluing those pieces together, making microaggregates, along with some other stuff. But that's the basics. So that in the beginning, take a look at this picture of dirt. This was a garden, but it was tilled up, and then it was compacted by rain, and then it dried out. It doesn't have too much life in it. I'm sure that there's a little bacteria, but all that's going to grow there is weeds. Now, bacteria's life cycle is based around nitrates. And if all you have is bacteria, you're just going to have nitrates. And weeds thrive on straight nitrates. Now, I know we're all in a hurry, but over time, nature and those weeds will introduce some fungus. Once you get a little bit of fungus and bacteria into your soil, now you got to look at what kind of plants grow in that. So as the succession continues, and the more fungus gets into your soil, the more ammonias are created, the better balance you have, the better your crops are going to do. Your regular crops, your potatoes, your tomatoes, everything that we normally grow as gardeners. In nature, as succession progresses, it goes from no fungus and very little bacteria all the way to a smaller amount of bacteria and very fungus. And that would be your old growth forests. It's a pretty simple concept, from rock to old growth forests. First, bacteria, and they glue together the little particles and start making structure. And then their predators eat them. A very high nitrate environment. Weeds really love it. And slowly, fungus starts to populate in. As that happens, you change the balance of nitrates to ammoniums. And then your predators change a little bit. And then it starts to balance out. And somewhere around 600 micrograms per gram of soil of bacteria and of fungus is a really good spot to grow your vegetables. Then it starts going a little less bacteria and a little more fungus, so you got more ammonium than nitrate, and there's your trees. And then your old growth forests, very highly fungal. Most of that energy from those trees go into the soil. In your weedy plots, only about 10% of the energy of the plants go into the soil. So why isn't the world just covered in old growth forests? Well, because usually there's some kind of disturbance happens. A fire, a flood, us. Every time there's a disturbance that happens, it busts up that web of life and it steps it back a little bit. So how do we achieve that? Most of our crops grow with a nice balance of bacteria and a nice balance of fungus. That's the life in the soil food web. Now we're back talking about the life in the soil. You know, the organisms that break down the minerals out of the sand, silt, and clay, which make up your soil to release the 42 different minerals that your plants need to be healthy. If we have a nice balance between the bacteria and the fungus, we have the best chance of growing the most kinds of crops in the same area. And that's what I've discovered over the last 5 years of doing this deep mulch gardening. And that's like with the turmeric that we just harvested, is part of our cut and drop method. We've just laid this down as a green, and I'll come back over and put leaves on top of this. Right in here where we still have a few sweet potato vines growing, we've got nice roots growing in the soil. We want to keep as much life going, so I'm just going to leave this and we're just going to cover it. Now, it's not only the material you use for a mulch, it's kind of how you manage your mulch garden. This turmeric right here, we planted this pretty late. I'm just going to clip this off at the ground, leave those tubers in the ground, cover that with a foot of mulch. That'll keep some life in the ground, and these will come back. Now, the last of our corn, when this freezes next week, we're just going to clip those off at the ground. We'll leave those roots in the ground. We'll just drop this and then we'll cover that up. So getting back to how do you get a nice balance of the bacteria and the fungus? Well, your wood chips, your woody material, that's going to be highly fungal if that's all you have. Your hays and your grass, that's going to put a lot of nitrogen in if that's all you have. I'd love to say I was a genius and came up with this, but I took what I learned from everybody. I only had a little bit of each. I mixed it all together because because that's what I had. And you've seen the results. Yeah, the garden's dying back. I think we've done pretty well. And you can do this too. Just gather whatever you can get your hands on, mix it all together, and definitely put it in a foot thick. One thing you gotta watch out for, you don't wanna pack it down too much. You wanna make sure you got enough air in there. If it goes anaerobic, then it's gonna get bad bacteria and bad fungus. You wanna stay aerobic. And that's why once we lay it on here, when we go to plant, I take the pitchfork and I just dig trenches. And that kind of flips it, kind of keeps mixing it. Take that down to bare soil. You can plant your seeds, you can plant your starts, just like normal. Here's a perfect example of you pull that mulch back and you plant like normal. These are not big enough to go ahead and mulch back in yet. And then it's gonna get cold, so we'll just cover these with totes. And as they get a little bigger, then we'll add some mulch in around them. And you're good to go. And you almost never have to weed. And the other question I keep getting asked is, what do I fertilize with? It's just the deep mulch. 4 inches thicker, a foot is better. Because it's gonna break down very quickly. And it feeds the life in the soil, which feeds your plants. And I haven't put any fertilizer down in over 5 years. Well, I hope some of this was helpful. You can do this too. If you want to learn some more about the deep mulch, click that link right there and I'll meet you back in the garden. If you want to learn about living soil, click that link right there and I'll meet you back in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.